Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I make my paracord lanyards for my knives. I will show you the different paracord, different color paracords that we have, some of the micro cord that we use as well, some of the beads that we use, and just how to do it. So let's get into it. All right, before we jump into making the lanyards, I want to show you some of them that I have already made up that I have on my knives already. This first one I'll show you is a rather large lanyard. I don't carry this knife. This is my first Spyderco knife that I ever got, my Endura. This was a gift, and so I don't carry this one, but I did put this lanyard on it, something I had made. You can see I put the bead on it and just slid it down over the top of that. I mean, I guess you could carry that, but it seems like it would be pretty cumbersome to carry something like that. So it's more just for show. This one I do carry. This is on my new Thai Penguin Plus, and just use this green bead here. It's kind of like a goldish green anodized bead. I think it's a Maxpedition bead if I'm remembering correctly. I'll post that in the description box or on the screen for you guys to see that. But you can see I just did 4 of the snake knots there, and then just cut it and terminated the knot there. So that's how I carry this one. Same kind of thing with my Spyderco Military, same type of bead, and again with just 4 of the snake knots. And then on my new Hogue that I got from Blade Show, this one has the classic Smuckatelli bead on it, and then again with just the 4 snake knots. This is the one that this is a knot that I primarily use on my knives. But you can do it without, just do the actual snake knot itself like that there. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different knots right on top of each other. And you can see on this one that it's not, there's no lanyard hole on this knife here, the Kubi carve. So I just put that on the actual pocket clip itself. So somebody had just commented yesterday on our first paracord video that we did, what about knives that you need to take apart to clean? If you've got this going through, like here on my Demco, if you have the paracord going through the actual knife, then it's going to be difficult to take the knife apart, obviously. So if you find yourself in that situation, then maybe not do it like this. You can still make this exact type of and we're going to make one of these. I'll show you how to make it. But make a lanyard exactly like this, but do it in this fashion where you can just slide it onto the pocket clip, and then you can obviously, you can take the knife apart, and that's not going to be an issue. You can even just remove it so it's not in the way. So that's an option for you. And then like I just showed you on this Demco here, this is another style of lanyard that I like to make, where it's got the paracord, the 550 cord, and then it's got the micro cord, and you just tie that with the standard Cobra stitch over the top of that. So we'll show you how to do that as well. And if you don't want a bead on it and you just want a smaller tag, you can do something like I did here on my PM3. You could put just the paracord and then the micro cord over the top of that and just do it simple like that. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can do something like this, like I have here on this straight blade, this fixed blade. Larger bead because it is on a straight blade, and I didn't terminate the ends. I just cut them down here and then just burnt them like that. But that's another version of the same knot. So we'll get into it now, and that way you can see how we actually physically make these. I'm going to do the first one here on my Benchmade Reptilian. So I've had this knife for a really long time, and as you can see, I've put some good use to it, good wear on the tip there. I've actually sent it back to Benchmade. They cleaned it, sharpened it, sent it back to me, and they did a really good job. And this knife has just been a really, really great knife. I've had it for a long time, and it's a tough knife. If you don't have one, if you've never thought about getting one, I would highly suggest this knife to anybody. This has been a great knife. So we're gonna put, I think I'm gonna use the goldenrod paracord on here. I'm gonna use this small bench vise to hold my knife, and just use this microcloth here so that the knife doesn't get chewed up when I stick it in there. So we'll use a good portion of this, probably maybe 1.5 feet. Let's see, maybe 1.5 feet to 2 feet. You don't really need a lot. So I just kind of eyeball it, and it looks like, let's see, that's probably going to be good enough. We'll cut it right there. And then, so you're going to need scissors. Got some small scissors here. You're going to need the paracord. And this is just, you can see the length here. I've got it folded over. So this is about how much paracord you're going to need. And then if you want to add a bead, you can do that. I've got several of them here. These are Schmuckatelli beads. So I will, I'll show you guys some of these different ones, and I'll put the link to these down in the description. This is the Schmuckatelli Mine bead. And as you can see here, it's a skull bead, but then it has all the smaller skulls on half of it. And then you can see the hole there. So there's the front. And you can see there's where the hole goes through there for the paracord. Right there. That's a good shot of that. So all of these are Schmuckatelli. This is the tiki bead. We're going to use this one today for one of the knives. So we'll use this one, and then just kind of give you the shot of that one. So we use this one, and then I'm going to use the Emerson bead. This is one of my favorite Schmuckatelli beads, and that is the Emerson bead. And these are all pewter. So it's going to be the least expensive beads from Schmuckatelli that you can get. And like I said, I'll leave the description. I'll leave the description and the link down in the description box. That way you guys can jump over to their website and check these out. So there, got that one. Here's the fang bead. The fangs are actually worn down. I actually filed those down because I had it on a different knife, and it didn't make sense to have the fangs on, but usually right here in the front there'll be 2 fangs coming down. Same thing. There's the hole there. And then here's their joker bead. So this one's their pewter joker bead. Now this one's rather large, just because of the jester hat. So you can see it's a little bit larger, but it's got really good detail. And then, yeah, obviously you can use anything. I've even got like just this little plain, like barrel, like decorative style bead that you can use. You pretty much use anything as long as it has a large enough hole for the paracord to get through there. So I even have some wooden style beads that you can pick up from a craft store, different colored ones. There's a black one. This is like a wooden bead. As long as, like I said, as long as the holes are large enough to get the paracord through, you can do that. Got some white ones, green, blue. Here's a different color, brown. So just whatever you like, you can put on there. But we're going to use this Emerson bead, and we're going to use this paracord. Now this knife has a smaller lanyard hole, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up just a little bit to kind of get that paracord cinched together so it won't fray when I put it through there. And then what we're going to want to do is link that so that your ends match up together. And then we're gonna burn this together. Just kind of get a little hot and then try to just smash it together. You don't want it super melted together because you're just doing this just to be able to get it through the bead. So we'll push this through the top. See that? We'll push that. Kind of push and twist at the same time. And once you get it going, then it tends to be fairly easy. So you can see it's already starting to come out the bottom there. And then if you have it right there, you can see it's going through the top. And then so I'm just going to kind of hold these two together and push and twist at the same time. And eventually you'll get that paracord to come out the bottom, where then you can just grab that and pull your paracord through. Run your bead all the way up. So you got your bead all the way up there. And then we'll be able to take what we just melted, we'll be able to take that apart. So you just want to pull that apart, and since we just barely melted it, it's super easy to come apart. Now, one thing you want to do that I try to do is figure out how far you want this bead away from the knife. And the reason I'm saying that is you don't want it to be so far away that this will loop around, because then that's going to interfere with the knife opening. So what I try to do is get this as far away, but still close enough that it won't go past. And I think that's probably going to be a pretty good spot right there. That way, when you have it in your pocket, it's still going to have some room to flip over to the side, which makes it nicer when it's in your pocket, versus just being so tight that it's just going to stick straight up. That doesn't really look all that well, and it's not really that functional. Because the whole point of why I like these lanyards is if you've got, and this one doesn't have a really deep carry pocket clip, but when you do have one that's all the way down in your pocket, it makes it so much easier just to grab this as like a pull tab and just pull your knife straight out of your pocket. It just makes it so much quicker. So now that we have that set where we want it, we can start doing our knot. And this, I call it a snake knot. I know that it's been referred to as a snake knot. Other people have said that there's a different type of snake knot, so I'm not sure exactly, but I'll show you how to do this knot, and then whatever it's called, that's the knot that I'm using. So you've got your two pieces of paracord here. You're gonna take the left and go over the right and go all the way around, just like that. And then this right cord is gonna go back and over the one that you just brought around, and then you're gonna go through this hole that you just created. And you'll bring those together. And when you cinch that up, that makes the first snake knot. And then you're gonna do that knot over and over and over again. So that's what you get right there. I don't know if I can get in the shot for you there. That's what you're gonna get right there. And it's the same on the front, and it's the same on the back. So we're gonna do that over and over, and it's really up to you to decide how many of those you want on your knife. I tend to do anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes 6. So it just really depends on the knife you're putting it on, how big the knife is. Like I'll show you, for instance, like on this small, my Kershaw 9, the launch, I put 4 of them on there, and then I used the smaller classic, the Schmuckatelli classic skull bead on there. And because the knife's not very large, so in relationship to the knife, obviously I don't want a huge lanyard, so I did a smaller version of this one. So you've got, we've got 2 on here. Let's go, you know, again, you take the left, you go around the right into the back, and then you take your right back and over the left, and then through the hole you just created. And you're just gonna do that over and over again. And let's do one more, kind of press these together so they set on top of each other. Let's do one more, that'll be 4 knots. So again, we'll take the left and go over the right and to the back, and then we'll take this right one and go back over and into the hole that we just created. And this will give us 4 knots. And then what I like to do is kind of put my fingers here to kind of get an idea of what the knot's going to look like once I terminate it. And if it doesn't look right, I think that might work. And you can always add another one if you're not sure. And then if you think it's too long, then you can always just undo it. That's the great thing about this knot. It's not difficult to take apart, but it stays together when you do it as well. So no, I think I actually like it with that many. So we'll go 5 on this one. Okay, now that we have that done, all we need to do is cut. All we need to do is cut and burn. So we'll cut right here on both of these, use the lighter, burn that, and we'll be done with this knot. So take your knot, it's best to use scissors, sharp scissors also, because you want this cut to be super clean. So you can see right here, you'll take this, take your scissors, and if I can give you a good enough shot to show you what I'm doing, you don't want to have this cut super, super close. You just want a little bit of a nub left, and about probably like that. Let me see if I can give you a good enough, yeah, like that. You want enough to burn off where when it cinches down, I should say, it's gonna sit nice on top of that knot, and that'll lock it in. So let's do the same thing on this one here. We'll cut that about the same way, okay? And now this is what you're left with, those 2 little nubs there. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the lighter and we're gonna burn both of those down. Just kind of push that back together. Take our lighter, and then being very mindful of what we're doing here, we're gonna burn just that cord until it starts to bubble. We wanna get it nice and hot to where it turns almost like glass. And once it starts to bubble, just like that, we're gonna let it dry or let it cool off. And that little spot right there is all you need for it to stay locked in where it will not come apart. You don't have to do anything else. So then we'll do the same thing on this other one. So want to be very mindful when you're doing this that you don't burn the surrounding paracord. So kind of use the flame where the blue meets the yellow on the flame and just hold it just as close as you need to, that you can see that the paracord is melting. And once it gets bubbly and glassy, you're done. Let it cool off on its own, and it'll form that nice, smooth, glass-like finish, and then you're done. You don't have to do anything else, and it will not come apart. So this one is done, and that's just your standard snake knot with Emerson Schmuckatelli bead. So the next one I'm going to show you how to do is going to be with the paracord and microcord. I'm going to make two more, but one of them is going to be just a slide on, where you'll be able to just slide it on here, and it'll be like one of these other versions. Or actually, I have one here, so I can just show you, like this one. Well, I'll show you on this knife that I have right now. This is my other Endura. It's Paracord Endura. And instead of putting what I did with, I'll show you actually why I have it like this. So on this Endura, you can see that the pocket clip that's supposed to be on here, it would have a hole that goes through it, which will be actually this clip right here, the one that's on my Mannix. So you can see that I switched these pocket clips. And I put this one that doesn't have a hole on it on this knife, and this one that does have a hole on that knife. Why I did that, I have no idea why I did that. Maybe it was because this one was all scraped up and I wanted a nicer, newer one on this knife. Not sure. But either way, since I did that, you can see that here's where the hole is to put the paracord through, but obviously you can't do that. So let's just say this knife didn't have a lanyard hole, but you did want to put something on there, you could make the same thing. You can make this little lanyard right here and then just slide it onto the pocket clip. Just like that. So I'll show you how to make one of these. And we're gonna use paracord and then the microcord. Now, if you don't know much about microcord, and there is a difference between microcord and nanocord. And I will tell you that the nanocord is extremely thin. It's very, very thin. And it's way too thin to do this. So you wanna make sure that you get the microcord. That's what you want. And as you can see that the paracord that we use is Atwood Rope Manufacturing. They have excellent paracord. All of the paracord that we have is from them. And then even the microcord is from Atwood also. And this one is their Aquatica color. Now let's figure out, let's just, let's see what we're gonna do in here. We'll do, just so we can get some contrast, I'll do something that's gonna be pretty bright so you guys will be able to see what I'm doing here. We'll do green and orange. So we'll do this green one here. We'll take a piece of that. And usually I try to, whenever I make these, I do try to do something that's got some high contrast. So what we'll do is we'll use this green, and then just, like I said, just for purposes of filming here for you guys, I'll use this orange so that you'll be able to see the difference. So we'll take, this is way more than enough. I mean, that's probably maybe a 1.5 foot total length. Which is going to be more than enough because we're only going to need like that much. So, and then we'll take some of this orange paracord, and I mean, this is the microcord, and this is going to be, this is just guesstimating. This is probably going to be, let's do maybe like 3 feet total. So like 1.5 foot on each side. That's what I'll pull. We'll go with that. Like I said, you don't need a lot of this because you're making a very small lanyard. So that we got that cut. So we'll put our, and since I'm gonna do a different lanyard on this knife altogether, I won't do it through the actual knife. I'll just do it through the pocket clip, just so we can have an idea what it takes to get it done. So you'll pull this on there. Let's get this locked in there. Oh, I'll put it this way so that we can actually see it. We've got that lined up. So you can see our ends are they're lined up, and then pinch this. And then again, we just need to, actually let me lay this flat. That'll be easier for us to actually do it this way. And then you'll lay it flat, and then you're going to just do a standard cobra stitch over the paracord together. So you're going to half this cord that you just cut. Make sure that your ends match up. Make sure that your ends match up like that. Then you'll take this end over here that's looped over. You'll come back underneath this, and then right where it was folded over, that's going to be your middle point. And then you're just going to start doing your standard cobra stitch. You're going to come over with the right, and you're going to go to the left, and then with your left, you're going to come over the one that you just came across with. So the left is going to go over the right, and it's going to go back underneath. And then that little hole that it creates, you're going to go up through there, and then pull it tight. Just like that. And then I usually like to try to do 2 of these. So the one that came over from the right to the left, now we're going to go back. This one is going to be the one that's going to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this one is just going to be going over that one. So we'll go back from the left now over to the right. We'll leave that little hole there. I'm going to create that little hole there. If I can do that without, there we go. Then we're going to go over this one, and then back around and through the hole that we just created. Pull that through, and that's what gives you your cobra stitch there. And then once you get two, I'll show you, this is what you've got started already. You can see where you've got the stitch comes over on both sides. So we're just going to go back and forth, but the thing with this is you want to slide that up wherever you want it. If you had a bead on here, the bead would be right here, and then you would just slide this up to the bead. With no bead, you can make this as tight as you want it. You can bring it up here as high as you want it. And then from that point on, all you're doing is just going back and forth with that stitch. You're just going to go back and forth. So I'll do this real quick to kind of give you a better idea of what it's going to look like once you kind of get multiple knots tied on there. So it's just the same thing over and over. Most of you guys that are into paracord are already going to know this stitch. There's probably thousands of videos on YouTube showing you how to do this stitch. So it's probably one of the easiest knots to tie. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. But then you just want to make this as far down as that makes sense to you. Whatever looks good as far as the length, that's what you're going to want to do. And then once you get there, I'll show you how to terminate this one. And it's going to be essentially the same thing as we did on the snake knot lanyard. So let's see how many we have here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do one more on this side. That'll give us 8. I'm just counting the knots on each side. Let's just call that done. And I'll show you what that looks like. So there you go. You can see the 550 cord, paracord through the micro cord. And with those two different high contrast colors, you can kind of see how it peeks through. Makes it look nice. But obviously this might not be the color combination for you. It's not for me either. I'm just to show you guys something that'll show up on camera. So then now what we need to do is we will cut both of these, burn both of those, and then we will do the same thing here. So let me show you how you do that. On this one with the micro cord, you are going to want to give yourself just a little bit more cord than you would with a paracord, because you actually will press this down when you burn it. So we're going to leave a little tag, a little bit more than you would probably on the paracord. So if you can see that, oh, there you go. See how it has that tag right there? So we're going to burn that, and then we'll use the lighter to press it down flat. So same thing, just be mindful of how you're burning this. It burns really quick. So get it nice and glassy, and then once you get it down there, just press it flat. And then it's going to give you that right there. You can see that, how it's just flat and like glassy. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll cut this. And once you burn this and smash it down like that, you don't ever have to worry about it coming apart. It's just not going to. So we'll do the same thing here on this one. So take that and we'll burn that one. And like I said, this micro cord doesn't take much at all to get hot and melt down. So just a little bit like that, and then you can just burn it down. And it looks super clean like that. You can see where you start your cobra stitch, that it does have that first knot on the back. It's kind of lumped up right there, the very first one. So you can kind of press that down a little bit. And what I usually try to do is put that to the back, the side that I'm not going to be showing. So for instance, like on this one here, on my Spyderco Mannix that I have, I did this knot and I put the bead down over it. But this is the front side of my lanyard that everybody's going to see. This is the back side, and that's where that knot is. So I usually just be mindful if you're using the lanyard hole that that's where you want that first knot to be on the back side of your lanyard. And then once you get that done, you'll want to cut this, and same thing, cut these both together. Make sure that this is a clean cut right here. And you want to get it pretty close. You want it to get it pretty close, but not right on that. You want to leave a little bit, just a little bit past that when you cut it. And then see if I can get a little bit closer for you. Yeah, like that. Excuse me. And then once you get that cut, we're going to do the same thing with the lighter. So let me show you. That right there is a good amount of paracord that you're going to burn down. Not too much, not too little. Take your lighter. Same thing, be mindful of the microcord around the paracord, because it doesn't take much for that microcord to burn. And then it's not going to look very good if your microcord gets all hot and melted around it. And all you're trying to do is just get that paracord to melt down like that. And I'll show you. That's what you're trying to achieve right there, is just a smooth glass finish. You don't have to press it down. You don't have to do anything to it. And then you can see that if you're mindful and don't get it too hot, all the microcord around it doesn't get burnt, and it just looks really, really clean. This looks super nice. So, and these work great for anything. I mean, you can do these on zippers, you know, for zipper pulls. You can put on anything. It's really up to you. So those are the two lanyards that I primarily make for most of my knives. And as you can see, most of my knives that I have do have them. Even things that aren't knives, like my ferro rod, I put this paracord on it because it's the neon orange, but it actually has the reflective, I don't know if it'll pick it up here on the camera, but you can kind of see like a gray stripe going through the paracord, and that's reflective. So if you lose it at night, you know, you got a flashlight or something like that, and plus with it being orange, you'll be able to find it. Got this self-protection spike here, and the same thing with that. I just did one with just the snake knot on it, and I keep that in my bag. My banner, baby banner, got this little Damascus bead on there, and then just put a few snake knots on there as well. So it's really up to you what you want to do. But those are the ones that I normally make for all of my stuff. Like I said, I'll leave all of the description for and the links down in the description box. If you have any thoughts for knots that you want to see us do, or if there's knots that you guys like that you would think would be way better for your knives, leave us your thoughts down in the comments, and we'll definitely go through those, and maybe we'll put some of those ideas together for our next video. All right, guys, that's going to pretty much do it for this episode. I hope that all of you enjoyed the content. This is our second paracord video. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments as to what you thought of the video, and maybe some ideas for our next video. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We're pretty close. If you have seen any of our other videos and enjoy our content, maybe consider subscribing. We'd really appreciate that. Would help us out tremendously. We do have a lot more footage that we're editing right now, so there will be more episodes coming shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And until then, thanks for watching.